My friends, hello.
Ho ho.
How long will I love you? As long as I want to.
Forever and ever.
And ever, amen.
Na na na. Na na na. Okay.
Okay, so I have to share a story before we go into this. But first, welcome everybody to Harmony in the Home. And this is where we share our stories. We share what we've experienced in our journey on creating harmony inside our homes. All three of us have background in relationship coaching, and therefore this idea came about to share those stories. So if you want more harmony in your home, listen in. There's not much education, it's just stories where you might hear something for yourself. And we like to laugh too. So
And we make
Be ready.
ready. So as we were deciding here what we're going to talk about today, I sent a message to my man and I said, by the way, we're filming. So he's upstairs, I'm downstairs. And the response was, good job. Now, in my mind, with that statement, I was saying, please be quiet up there so that there's no noise down here. So I said, we're filming this.
Wow.
It's like, and then I was like, oh, I guess I have to be more clear. Please do not stomp on the floor. It's understood.
Good.
Okay. And how often do we have that happen when we tell men or even children sometimes to do something or share something, and what we say is not always what they hear?
Like almost never.
Almost never what they hear. It's like we speak two different languages.
Yeah.
But what you are saying, you have to be specific, whatever you need, right?
I guess so. Like that's what I'm learning. You got to be very specific, simple language. And then one of the things I'm learning is ask for feedback. Like, what did I ask you to do?
Yeah.
Did you understand what I just said? Or like, what did you hear? What did you hear me say? And sometimes he'll respond back. I'm like, huh? How did you hear that? Don't say it that way. Obviously, I'm just thinking like, how did you get from A, B, C, C, D, E?
Yeah. Yes.
Do you have stories like this?
Yeah, for sure. Like the other day, I was talking to my man and I said, we were typing a message to somebody. And he said, well, what should I say here? And I said, say, when would you like to come over? And he said, completely different. So he's typing this completely different sentence. I said, hold on. I said, when would you like to come over? And he's like, isn't that what I'm saying? I was like, no, could you read it? And it says completely different, maybe like, would you like to come over later or something? Like, that's not what I said. So even sometimes when you like say it, the person can interpret it and make it mean something else, right? Or I was like talking to my friend the other day and she was making a date with this man. She wanted him to come over to her place. And she said to him, I would like for you to come over on Saturday. And she believes she said in the evening, but she said, I'd like for you to come over on Saturday. He said, okay. And then she meant in the evening. And he thought during the day because he's not working during the day, he's working in the evening. So then it comes Saturday evening and she's texting him and she says, where are you? And he said, I'm at work. And she said, well, we said we were going to meet today. He said, yeah, I was waiting for you the whole day. She's like, but I said in the evening. And he said, you didn't clarify, you didn't specify. And I was waiting for you the whole day. And now I'm at work and I can't meet. She was so bummed out because she really wanted to. And she's like, wow, it's so important to be clear, when you speak to men.
You know, that also brings up another point too here is like, let's break that situation down. He's at home. He thought she said during the day,
Yeah.
and he's waiting for her, and she's not writing. What is stopping him from sending her a message and saying, "Are we still on?" Like if he is actually expecting it, what's stopping people from saying, "Are we still on?"
Mhm.
Right? So,
Or even just ask,
like,
did you
"Hey,
mean,
I'm still waiting," or I think it's probably the fear, right? Well, I don't know what it is. It's
or
just
at the beginning, just ask when you want me to see, right? Like everybody like assume, like many times we do that. Like assume like, oh, maybe this one or that one. And at the end, oops, my lovely, oops.
yeah. How important is communication? How, like, details, small details, just how important is it? It's crazy.
It's so important. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, do you have stories like this?
It's like everybody like, okay. It's so quiet. It's like, so important. Communications.
I was taking it in. Like, I was like, really? Like,
Hello.
you've been studying this for so long, but then every single day more proof how important it is.
And what we were talking about earlier when you said that there's like so many divorces right now, right? And it comes from miscommunication because couples get together and then they assume something, or they get to know each other, and then there's like familiarity, and then they don't speak up, and they don't get to know each other again and again and again, and yeah.
Yes. At some point, you just become so familiar, and it's like, okay, well, I'm not
You
gonna go
should
there.
know it. You don't know?
I was just gonna use an example of a couple that wants to have intimate relations in the evening. Hey, you want to have? Sure, why not? Or like, nah, not today. It's like, wow, that's very exciting. But a lot of couples are like that. Or there's a movie where she schedules this every Tuesday, oh, every other Tuesday, and when he asks her, she's like, uh, no, today is not Tuesday.
Yeah. We talked about that. You remember? Like, yes, it's like, oh, Tuesday already?
It's Tuesday. All right, it's on Tuesday. So do you have stories, Gazelle, of miscommunication?
I don't know, for some reason it came the story. I had the like woman, she was saying, I used to work and I was making my money. It's like, and I told him, and he knows that I need money. Why I have to ask all the time? He knows that because I don't used to ask or something. I say, okay, and then let's do it this way. If Do you ask your husband to tell you how he loves you? Of course, I love. I like to hear that every time. I say, why? He already married you. He loves you already. So if you want to hear that, just to put like some paper when it says I love you. Every time when you want to hear that, just go and read. It's like he's like,
That's cute.
okay. So why not ask your husband and say, listen, honey, I need money. Like, can you buy? Not like, oh, I need money. You have to give it. That's another part of communications. You don't know that. Why I have to ask you all the time? Or you can say, honey, I just need this. Yeah, I need to go to the spa. Yeah, do you remember? So just like playful, like last time we talked about the playful tool, playfulness. It really works. So that's my story. It was so hilarious. Like, why I have to ask? Because we assume that he will know and he has to do it, and is sitting and waiting. He doesn't know. Hello.
He doesn't know.
And they love when they ask them, because I know my man, he loves when I ask him. So why not? It doesn't nothing very not it's not difficult. Before I was actually thinking the same way. It's like, why I have to tell every time? And then I say, why not? That's
This reminds me that it actually works both ways, right? Like when what we say they don't understand, but they might say something and we create a story around it. Paulina, you had a story like that, right?
Probably many.
When a man told a woman something and she completely took it. Which one?
Oh
Personally.
yeah, yes, of course, yes. So it's also my friend, and she was sharing a story how she was listening to this man, and he was talking about his wife, and he was caring for his wife, that he wanted to know if she was going to the gym and if she was taking care of her health. That was, he was thinking that. But what he said to her is, I noticed you haven't been to the gym lately, like you haven't worked out. And she just like went bonkers on him. She just went so mean and so mad, and she started just yelling and fighting, and he took that very personally. Of course he fought back with aggressive words, and then now they're not talking. So as he was sharing this story to my friend, he said, I don't understand. I asked her because I really care. I really wanted her, because I know how much it means to her, to be healthy. And she talks about it a lot. So I only asked her, but I don't understand why she responded this way, and why, she, was so harsh to me. And when she was listening to him, she because she's really into how to talk to men, the tools. And she's like, I heard him, and she's like, I saw how the women, they're not trained to go with curiosity. And when he said that, how she could have said it differently. And for her, and from her view, she could have said, oh honey, why do you ask?
Yeah.
Like just staying completely curious. And then he would probably say, oh, because I really care about your health, and I know that it's important to you, and I think about it, so I wanted to see about it.
And
then
totally different.
And then they could have created a connection instead of a fight, because then she could have acknowledged him and said, wow, thank you so much for caring for me and for my health and my weight, and or whatever else he would say. And then he would feel good, and then she would feel good, and then maybe even more, something more would have came out of it. Maybe they would have created a game around it, who knows. But now they're just not talking anymore.
So what I hear is there's a couple things that didn't work, right? Yeah. So first one is it didn't work that he asked her, because by asking the question, he put her in her head, right? So it's probably a trigger for her. So he asked her a question that was not necessarily an inquiry. It was more of a, it sounds to me, if that's how he said it, it was more of a controlling question, right? Like, why aren't you going? And then she created a story about it, which also didn't work. And then in return, instead of like another inquiry or feedback or yielding to him, she used force to argue, right? And to criticize him for what he said. And a couple of things didn't work. It could have easily worked if he used another way. I don't even know how you would ask a woman why she doesn't go to the gym. I would just leave it alone. She knows why she wants to go to the gym, okay?
Yeah, and also, men are they're not very trained, on how to ask. So another way, like when the women start to, because a relationship is a woman's game.
Yes.
Yeah. So men don't know, and so they say a lot of silly things, How
could she train him back?
Well, I mean, if it was me, I would probably say, okay, I see that there's that you care about something in your question. I see that you care about me. And then let's see how you can ask me so that it lights me up.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you just another tool, right? You just used another tool, another communication tool, like a feedback, and give him like how he can do it. Oh, honey, when you ask me this question, it's just put in my head or something.
And that's good too. That's great. Yeah. And that's good.
Zombies.
That's playfulness right there. That's so good, Aliyah.
So that's very good. Like yeah, that feedback is powerful.
Yeah.
We all know it. It's just like, oh, it's interesting with that comment. You put me in my head. I think like I do that. Like I play a little silly. Like
No.
Did I?
I think I think I just ran into my head.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, is that what I said? It's
Mm.
like, yeah, I think. Could you say it another way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really love
So
the
you-
way you say like in my head, in my head. Now look at
So
me.
so
Yeah.
actually you use two tools,
Yeah.
like playfulness and feedback.
Yes.
It's so I
Yeah,
love these tools. You
it's
can
like-
play around.
Yeah, it's like a playground or building a house, right? We have all these tools and we're building it and we're trying this on, it doesn't work. So you bring in the bolt, and then you try the Phillips head. No, that doesn't work. Then you try another one. And in the beginning, you don't know what you're doing. But then as you keep going, you start, it's like, oh, it pops up right away. Like in my head just came up, like I probably could sing something like that. That's a good story. That's a very good example of how
Example.
it happened. And going back to what we started with, a lot of times miscommunication is the cause of divorce. That's the first step. And second step, which goes even before anything, is our primal instincts. People in the past used to get married because they needed to protect the children. They needed to, have a partner. People only lived 20, 30 years. So they committed to each other for the whole life, right? There's only this much time. Now people live over 80 years. When you make a commitment at 20 years old, you're committing to one person for 60 years.
Oh,
You better choose your partner right.
yes.
Or maybe we need a new system of marriage or some kind of partnership agreement. Let's survive 3 years first. I don't know, throwing ideas there. And then after first 3 years, let's try and survive 10 years. And 10 years, then you sit down and you go over your agreement.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like,
so good.
well, I don't know, that just I just came up with that idea, like just a business agreement. Ultimately, that's what it is. In the How to Talk to Men book, Mia says that when you date, you look for Mr. Right now. When you mate, you look for Mr. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So like, how do you find the right Mr. Right? A lot of it is already in the book, so highly recommend getting the book and reading about it. There are games. You guys can create games for finding the men if you don't have one, or if you already have one, there's a way to have a very harmonious relationship with your man by playing those games and just having fun. And
It's always.
yeah. Guzal, do you have a game that you play with your man? Or Polina? Oh, well,
This was just like, okay, okay. I don't know what kind of game. What do you mean? It's just
like we played Light You Up game very recently with our teams, and then I asked my man to play that game. So it's like,
What's the game?
what lights you up?
Oh, the one where we go like this, and like this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
like for instance, to give you an example, he asked me to go on a date, and he wanted me to go to the bar. I don't drink. It's still COVID time. What's the point of being at the bar? Right. So I said, can we come up with another, like something physical and so on? So as we sat down, and it seemed like a lot of work. We're sitting there looking for somewhere to go on a date, and we were searching. And at some point I'm thinking like, could you just take me for a bike ride, please? And he said, yeah, absolutely. And so we're out on the motorcycle for 1.5 hours or 2 hours. And then I'm sitting there, and I took my helmet, the cover off, and I screamed in his ear, how is this not an awesome date, huh? And he's like, oh, I guess that was a date.
Yeah.
It's like, 'Cause in his head, it was the date is to go somewhere, get dinner,
To the
sit
bar and drink
at
like everybody does.
a bar, whatever, winery and so on. When you don't drink, you could go for a nice dinner, but when you don't drink, like what are some of the places you could go? You could go hiking and so on. So it's kind of thinking outside the box, but he read my lights. When I said, how about we go on a bike ride? He's like, oh, that lights you up. Let's go.
Yeah, it even lights you up right now as you talk about it.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Like, wow, bike ride really lights you up.
Yes, I love being on the motorcycle and like on the back of the motorcycle.
Uh-huh.
There's something more to it. Like it's him being this masculine person that's like riding the bike, controlling he's in full control of you, both of your lives in a way too. It's a little scary. But and you're sitting there grabbing on, there's that connection, and he knows you trust him, and for us it's a very interesting bonding experience on the motorcycle. So that's part of the game for us.
And both of you is laid up on that. He loves motorcycle.
Yeah,
The riding. Yeah.
and I love the men on the motorcycle.
Oh, that's it.
Well, I love most men on motorcycles. I love all men on motorcycles.
Most
That's
likely.
correct.
I was like, ding.
Okay, I love all men. Okay, you got me.
All right, now you're talking.
Yeah, so going back to games, that's what I was asking. Like, do you have any kind of game?
I don't have any game right now, but what I realized, even for my son, when I talk to him and he's like trying to say about work, it's something difficult or something happened, and I start joking, and he's like just like probably his head because he's going his head. I said, oh, I have to do this. I said, oh really? Or I have to do something else. I said, what about you trying this way? And he's like just funny way. He's like, you're like, huh? And then he's like, and he starts smiling, like laughing. I say, yeah, now it's good, better. It's just
That's good. That's good. You just flip his
yes.
his from one side of the brain to another with just a joke. And he's like, wait, I was supposed to be serious. What just happened to me? Like sometimes we just get into our head. Like,
Easily.
easily in our heads. Like, it's a habit. It's a habit. It's a habit.
It's a bad habit.
It's a bad habit. And also in the book I was reading today, because I was getting ready, so I thought like I could share some of the stories from the book. There's a section that says that paradoxes only exist in our heads, only in our heads. And I was like, that is so true, because the double bind theory, you can't, there's examples of it, but it's only in our head because the head comes in and explains something or creates a story. But Mia says, follow your heart, and the heart always knows. Follow the heart. And just that statement, it's just like, it's so heartwarming over here when I say that.
Yeah, I see
Just
it.
follow your heart and everything just happens.
Because we used to make a decision and using from our head.
Mhm.
At the beginning it's just hard, but then it's like, oh, what if, and then the logical thing is going on, and like, no, like you said, just listen to your heart and just follow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, everyone.
What?
Just one more thing I wanted to add. It's like there's so many systems out there that talk about this stuff, but there's only one method, which is the SAGE method, that really is so genuine and honest, and it's sweet, it's real, it's natural, and it's easy to use, yeah, and easy to apply these tools. And there's no method like this anywhere, nothing like it out there in the world anywhere.
I agree.
Yes, and I love that you always remind us you always remind us in the recording to like just share this method, the sage method. Like this is what we do. Like we're here to share this method because it worked for me, it worked for you, Polina, it worked for you, Guzal, and you know, and then it transferred also. You helped Guzal, Guzal helped me. I'm helping other people right now, and that's how it works. So we're here to share with you. There's a way to be in complete harmony so that there's no thunderstorm in your house. You know, if you love thunderstorm, let it be outside of your house. Just watch it and enjoy it as a show. But inside your home, there's harmony, there's tonalities, there's music, and you just are in your heart, not in your head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it works.
Yes.
The tool works. Tripod. Okay, that
Well,
was nice talk.
with that being said, everybody stay in your hearts, follow
Yeah.
your hearts, listen to your hearts, and come back next week.
Yes. Please do.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, ladies.
Bye.
Bye bye.